Welcome back to CrickFlix. Today we're going to be discussing some of the most satisfying moments in cricket history. The perfect revenge moments of bowlers. Nothing feels better than getting payback on a batsman who's been giving you trouble. So let's jump right into it and take a look at the top 9 perfect revenge moments of bowlers in cricket. Hang on, before we go on with this list, I just want to say that I'm the biggest cricket fan ever. No one is a bigger fan than me. Oh, do you think you're a bigger fan than me? Then press subscribe to convince me. Now that you are a member of CrickFlix, we can continue with the video. On number 9, Stuart Broad versus Michael Clarke. Our first revenge moment comes from the 2015 Ashes series, where Stuart Broad took revenge on Michael Clarke. In the previous series, Clarke had dismissed Broad with a ball that went between his bat and pad, and had even commented that he had no problems dismissing him in the upcoming series as well. However, Broad had different plans, and worked on his technique to ensure that he doesn't get dismissed in the same fashion again. And in the next series, he took revenge by dismissing Clarke with an almost identical ball. Except this time, it went through the bat and pad gap. Clarke was stunned, and Broad was ecstatic. A classic revenge moment that showcased the competitive spirit of both players. And on 8, we have Ishant Sharma versus Ricky Ponting. Our next moment comes from the 2008 Perth Test between India and Australia. Ricky Ponting had scored a brilliant century in the first innings, and was batting confidently in the second. However, Ishant Sharma had other plans. Sharma bowled a bouncer that hit Ponting's helmet and knocked it off. Sharma then followed it up with another bouncer that Ponting fended off awkwardly, resulting in a catch to the fielder. Sharma had his revenge, and the Indian team had the last laugh. Dirty number 7, Glenn McGrath versus Michael Atherton. The 1997 Ashes series was a highly anticipated battle between England and Australia. One of the standout moments from the series was the grueling battle between Michael Atherton and Glenn McGrath. The two players battled for over 10 hours in a single match, resulting in a draw. However, the battle did not end there. In the next series, McGrath was determined to get his revenge on Atherton. The first test of the next series saw the two players facing off again. This time, McGrath was in top form and determined to take down Atherton. In the very first over of the match, McGrath delivered a perfect ball that sent Atherton back to the pavilion for a duck. It was a crushing blow for Atherton, who had no response to McGrath's accurate delivery. For McGrath, this was the perfect revenge moment. After the grueling battle in the previous series, he had finally gotten his revenge on Atherton. It was a reminder that revenge is a dish best served cold, and that even the most skilled players can fall victim to the perfect revenge moment. Number 6, Shane Warne versus Alex Stewart. Our next moment comes from the 1993 Ashes series. Alex Stewart had been giving Shane Warne a hard time, hitting him from boundaries and looking confident at the crease. However, Warne had a plan. He bowled a delivery that spun past Stewart's bat and hit the off stump. Warne celebrated by jumping in the air and pumping his fists, while Stewart was left to rue his mistake. Warne had his revenge. One funny fact about Shane Warne is that he was once caught out in the public wearing his teammate's shirt after a night of partying. He had accidentally taken the wrong shirt from the washroom, which happened to belong to a teammate. This incident became a topic of conversation in the cricketing world for some time, but Warne took it all in good humor, and even joked about it in interviews. Number 5, Courtney Walsh versus Salim Jafar. During the 1992 World Cup, the match between West Indies and Pakistan was a highly anticipated one. Salim Jafar, the Pakistani medium pacer, had been bowling well, and had even dismissed Courtney Walsh earlier in the match. However, when Jafar came out to bat, Walsh had his revenge. He bowled a perfect Yorker that went through Jafar's defenses and hit the stumps, leaving Jafar with no chance to defend himself. As Jafar walked back to the pavilion, Walsh gave him a stern stare, as if to say, "Gotcha." It was a classic revenge moment, and it showcased the fierce competitiveness and determination of both players. Despite the intensity of the match, both players showed good sportsmanship and respect for each other's skills. Number 4, we have Dale Stearns and Michael Clarke. Our 6th revenge moment comes from the 2014 Test series between South Africa and Australia. In the first test, Michael Clarke had hit Dale Stearns for 4 consecutive boundaries, making him look ordinary. However, Stearns had a plan. He bowled a delivery that nipped back sharply and hit Clarke's stumps. Stearns let out a roar of triumph, and Clarke was left stunned. Stearns had his revenge. On number 3, Glenn McGrath versus Ramnaresh Sarwan. Our next revenge moment comes from the 2003 ICC World Cup between Australia and the West Indies. Glenn McGrath was bowling beautifully and had already taken 2 wickets. Then he got into a verbal spat with Ramnaresh Sarwan, who was batting at the time. McGrath got so upset that he reportedly said to Sarwan, "Why are you so effing fat?" Sarwan replied, "Don't worry about my weight. Let's talk about your wife." This comment enraged McGrath, who proceeded to sledge Sarwan with some of the most vicious and personal insults ever heard on the cricket field. Sarwan was eventually dismissed, but not before he had scored 49 valuable runs for his team. When McGrath came out to bat, Sarwan got his revenge by sledging him back. He said, "Hey McGrath, why are you so concerned with my weight? Maybe you should take a look at yourself in the mirror and lose some of that excess baggage you're carrying around." McGrath was visibly shaken and could not concentrate on his batting. He was soon dismissed for a duck, and the West Indies won the match. Number 2. James Anderson versus Michael Clarke. In the 2013-14 Ashes series, England was playing Australia in the first test at Brisbane. James Anderson had been bowling well and had taken 6 wickets in the first inning. However, Michael Clarke, the Australian captain, had been equally impressive, scoring a century and leading his team to a commanding lead. In the second innings, Anderson got his revenge by dismissing Clarke for just 1 run. He then proceeded to give Clarke a send-off that has become legendary in cricketing circles. Anderson reportedly said to Clarke, "Get ready for a broken fucking arm," a reference to an incident in the previous Ashes series, where Clarke had been hit on the arm by a short pitch delivery from Anderson. Clarke was visibly upset and exchanged words with Anderson, but the damage had been done. Australia went on to win the test by a huge margin. And the glory of number 1 goes to Shoaib Akhtar versus Andrew Flintoff. Our final revenge moment comes from the 2005 ODI series between Pakistan and England. Shoaib Akhtar was bowling to Andrew Flintoff, who had been talking a lot of trash to him throughout the series. Akhtar had already dismissed Flintoff once, but Flintoff continued to taunt him. In his next over, Akhtar got his revenge by bowling a Yorker that shattered Flintoff's stumps. As Flintoff walked off the field, Akhtar gave him a piece of his mind, saying, "I'll get you out whenever I fucking want." Flintoff responded by getting in Akhtar's face, but the two were separated before any punches could be thrown. Pakistan went on to win the match, and Akhtar's revenge had been sweet. These are some of the most perfect revenge moments in cricket history. Bowlers have always had to endure sledging and taunts from batsmen, but every once in a while, they get their chance to strike back. These moments are not only satisfying for the bowlers and their teammates, but also for cricket fans all over the world. We hope you enjoyed this video, and if you have any other revenge moments you think we missed, be sure to let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to CricFlix for more exciting cricket content.